Welcome to our next episode of
Fandom
Family
Chats.
This is a production of Family Fan Clubs on Facebook. You can find us all over Facebook. You can find us all over social media under Fandom Family Chats. Look us up, get dialed in, get plugged in, and get ready to listen to some crazy people talk crazy stuff.
Welcome back to Fandom Family Chats. I'm Amanda.
I'm Eve.
We're going to be talking about our Fox shows, which are 911 and The Residents. And I think we're in week 3, right? Yeah.
Yes.
We're in week 3 for both. First, we're going to be talking about 911. And this week was a lot more different than it usually is. We only saw Athena and like Bobby, right? We didn't see anybody else.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. I mean, aside from all the extras in Florida where they're at. But as far as like our main people, those are the only 2.
Okay. I couldn't think of any time that they like flashed to them at all. But
I did enjoy the whole mystery of it all. That's not something we typically get on 911.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Like, I miss all our people and I'm looking forward to going back to, the regular, calls and everything. But this was a fun change of pace. I like the mystery.
It was. I like a change every now and then. You can't keep doing the same thing over and over again. We need a little bit of change every once in a while. And I enjoyed it. It was, like you said, it was kind of that mystery, which I think we all like. But it was really nice to see like Athena, more of her backstory, more of her as a child, and the town she grew up in and the people she grew up with. We never really know that much about her other than her later life.
Yeah, we learned, I know through her backstory, the Athena Begins. I know we got a little bit of, who she was more like post-college or whatever, but never this young. So
yeah, so it was nice.
And the casting for her mom was spot on. Like, I saw her,
right?
And the way she was acting, I was like, yeah, that's her mom.
Right? I think it's the same person. I'm going with that.
Yeah, they just dressed her up real good.
No, but she did.
Rebecca Pearson on her.
She did do amazing. I was thoroughly impressed.
So, the big storyline was that little girl being taken. So,
yes,
they kind of went into that a little bit, like at the end of, like, they've been talking about that just a little bit, but we actually got to see what happened that night, kind of in a little bit of broken pieces, but we got to see how everything happened that night and how everyone reacted. So
yeah, which like last week we got to see just a tiny bit of it. This week they actually dove deep into the case, and I mean, this is apparently the entire reason why Athena went into the field that she's in now is for Tanya. So I thought it was really nice to see, but pretty much we get to see Athena's really good friend from her childhood. I don't know if it was her best friend, but it was a girl she knew, a friend of hers.
It was definitely a neighbor.
Yeah, I don't think they were like besties, but I think they were acquaintances, friends, neighborhood friends.
It was a little unclear how close they were, like what their relation was, but I was under the impression that she was just a neighbor, that she didn't know Tanya or the sister all that well.
Yeah, more acquaintances.
Yeah,
kind of. I think so too. That's kind of the impression I got, but I think it really did hit close to Athena because the girl was her age. And for something that traumatic to happen to somebody that's your age in your neighborhood right next to you, I mean, somebody steals you out of, quote unquote, somebody steals you out of bed. That has to be terrifying as a child.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Especially with seeing how her dad reacted to everything. Like, he pulled out his gun and like, I still thought Samuel was to blame. So I was really scared.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought Samuel was at first, but once I heard that truck go pop, pop, pop when he was going down the street, I thought it was Senior. I'm just immediately, I was like, they wouldn't have put that truck going pop, pop, pop if it wasn't an important fact in the story. This is how I watch way too much TV. I'm like, no, they would not have made that truck make that sound in the show and zoomed in on it if it didn't have anything to do with the case. So I was like, it's Senior. I know it's going to be him. Watch, it's going to come back to him. Finding out that it was Junior and all this stuff at the end was completely shocking for me. I know we're jumping ahead, but it's fine.
I kind of knew, like, when his involvement came out, I was like, he's involved. I was like, I don't think he did it. So as soon as I found out that as soon as it came to be that like he was involved, I was like, it can't be that easy. Like
Yeah.
I was like, he's covering.
Yeah. Once there was a time that I was like, I don't think it's him. Oh, it was when he went to go visit. His name just went out of my head. Athena's dad.
Golly.
Huh? Samuel. Once Senior went to go visit Samuel in the hospital, that's when it kind of clicked to me, and I was like, I don't think it's him. I think he's covering for somebody.
Yeah, I felt that too, because I was like, the way he was apologizing.
Yeah.
It's like he was like people who, who actually committed the murder don't apologize that sincerely.
Yeah. And I think he did feel really bad. And this whole thing with Samuel, I mean, I kind of want to concentrate on him for a moment while we're here. So he's in a coma from running into their house.
What was it? It was
I think it was with a heart attack or a stroke or something along those lines, if I remember correctly.
Some kind of medical thing.
Kind of medical thing happened, and he runs into the house, and that's when all this stuff gets uncovered, because obviously they have to try to fix the house and dig things up, and that's when they find the body and blah, 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 blah. We saw that last week. So this week, he's in a coma, and Beatrice's, which is his wife, Athena's mother, is very gung-ho on her husband's innocence, which I love. The one thing that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, though, was how fast Athena was about to just turn on her own dad.
Yeah, because
I was like, woo.
Especially when she was sitting there, like when Bobby was sitting in there going through his files, and Athena was like, what are you doing? I was like, no, Athena, what are you doing?
Right?
Or
I was like, oh, no.
The real question is, what are you not doing? Like, because that's not Athena at all. She's like, and I'm going to get answers yesterday kind of person. Mm-hmm. And well, then she actually admitted to Bobby, I think my dad did it, and I'm afraid of what I'm going to find. It's like, well,
which I understand too. Like I do understand it, because what if it was her father? She's not going to be the one that wants to figure that out. And
yeah, but then on the other hand, wouldn't she also want to look through his things just so that she could prove that it wasn't him?
Yeah, which is the whole thing that Bobby said, was like, wouldn't you rather like clear his name than think he's guilty?
Like, you don't have to be of the mindset that he did it and you're afraid of what you're going to find.
Yeah.
You can go in fully wanting to prove his innocence, which thank goodness he was innocent.
Oh my gosh, I know. I was really scared for about, I think, 10 minutes of watching this. Only about 10 minutes. And then I thought he was innocent, and I thought it was Senior, to be honest. I was really scared for Athena. I was like, oh man, this is going to make her fly off the hinges. Like, she is not going to be okay if her father killed this little girl. But thankfully that did not happen. But I really did not like how Athena spoke to Bobby. I feel like that really hurt my heart. Thankfully, Bobby's very understanding and such an amazing guy to her. He really is. I mean, she was going through a tough time. We do things all the time when we're going through tough times. We can't be held accountable, really, with the position she was in.
He's good in a crisis, that's for sure.
He is. He
He's just
is.
sitting there, like he's like been the fall guy this whole time. He's like taking all this heat from everyone and playing peacemaker. I'm like, that is a hard job.
Yeah.
That's a hard job under like just typical family dynamic circumstances. But when you've got dad in the hospital and mom's being uncooperative and your wife is about to fly off the handle, like good golly, that's a job.
Yeah, he just had to sit there and hold it all down while they just exploded around him.
Like everyone's exploding and I'm just like, okay, everyone chillax.
He did.
It's gonna be fine.
Tell me what, if anything ever happens to Bobby and Athena, I will riot. Like, you can't, they have to be like the glue in this show, I feel like now. Like, you can't separate them. They're them. That's the couple.
They've been very solid for a very long time. So, I mean, they need to be left alone.
Yeah. I feel like I'm always nervous that they're going to start playing with Bobby and Athena. I'm like, please don't. You have every other character to play with. Don't play with these two.
Just let them be.
Just let them be. So, also going back to this investigation, this lead detective does not like Athena and his businessman.
That's putting it lightly.
I think he was a little intimidated.
I think it was more of like a territorial kind of thing. Like, this is my investigation. Yep. And I mean, he was kind of right. They did think that rewind. They did think at the beginning that her father could be responsible. So, he was kind of right. Like, she couldn't be very heavily involved, but I mean, he doesn't know Athena. Like,
yeah. I mean, and should she have been involved? No.
No, she shouldn't have been involved, but this is a TV show, so I'm gonna go to bat for Athena and say he should have just let her in.
But she's Athena. She knows what she's doing. It's okay.
It's okay. She knows what she's doing. She'll solve the mystery. It'll be fine. They ended up being a great team, though.
They did. I liked how that all kind of came full circle. That was a little bit of a piece in this entire mess of an episode. That was amazing. I'm not saying the episode was a mess. I really did enjoy this episode.
What I found really funny was that I said before that they showed, a young Beatrice, and that's Athena's mom. And then they showed a young Athena, and I'm like, that's Athena, especially they showed her questioning that poor police officer.
Oh my gosh, I loved that.
And he's standing there like, you are a 9-year-old child. Please go away.
I honestly loved that entire interaction.
I did too. It was really funny.
I was expecting it to go a different way, to be honest. I mean, we gotta be thinking where we are when we are, and race, obviously we have to put in there. Exactly. And I honestly thought this was like he was going to be some kind of butt munch to her. And I honestly really love this interaction because he answered her questions as the best as he could for her being a 9-year-old girl. And I feel like she was honestly like satisfied with this answer, and it was just a good interaction. I really did appreciate seeing that.
Yeah,
not being a problem.
It was just really cool because I was like, yes, that's Athena. That Athena needs to jump in on this investigation yesterday.
Yes, I loved it. Also in that scene we get to meet Tanya's sister. Trying to think of her name.
Don't remember her name. She was quite a rebel though, even like before. I mean, we saw that she'd kind of been getting herself into trouble since her sister disappeared.
Yeah.
But then later on we see that she's it seems like she was always that way, kind of a, rebel sneaking out of the house,
Yeah.
which, funnily enough, that entire investigation had been going off, wrong information.
That was so that was so detrimental. I mean, I feel like this case could have been solved a long time ago with that information, but that new detective, I think, had already figured that out. Like he had said, like she wouldn't have gone to bed in her berets. That hurts when you lay down on them. You can't sleep on them. She wouldn't have. So I think he already had like a suspicion that she wasn't taken out of her bed. But I don't think they had anything, like any hard evidence to go on to prove that. So Athena and Bobby pretty much go behind this investigator's back and talk to Tanya's sister, Joanne, about kind of what had happened in her eyes that day.
And understandably, like, she was not in a good place.
No.
Like, the years had not been kind to that poor woman.
No, I think that's because she was holding that information in all those years and probably felt so much guilt.
Like, can you imagine holding all of that in all those years? That had to have been killing her.
That was very sad.
I just found it, I also found it really, is interesting the word? Nice that Bobby, of all people, is the one that she opened up to.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it is about Bobby. He just has that calming presence. You just want to tell him everything.
I tell him anything. I love Bobby. But I'm not like in love with Bobby. I think of Bobby as like a dad type.
Like, he'll take good care of you, like in a dad kind of way.
Yes. Like he's like comforting. Like I would feel like safe with Bobby. I don't know. Like
I agree.
he's more
Well,
I'm pretty sure he could be my dad in real life. So
well, I'm currently watching Parenthood, so
yeah.
So what is it all we learned from Joanne? She snuck out. Tanya's the one who disappeared, right?
Yeah. Joanne snuck out that night, and Tanya later on got all prettied up and followed her sister to the party. Well, I guess didn't follow her, but went to the party she knew she was at. And I was flabbergasted at this entire thing because I'm like, what? First of all, Joanna seems like she's 14, maybe. Like she seemed like 13, 14. She seemed like such a baby.
She seemed like 12, 13.
And do we know how old Tanya was?
I don't know. For some reason, I have 9 stuck in my head.
I have 9 stuck in my head too.
But
so that might be it.
Younger than that. She looked a little younger than that, maybe 8 or 9.
But when they just started handing her beer, I was like, "Are you like as a sister?"
That really upset me. I'm like, that's a 9-year-old girl, and
yeah,
it just struck me as odd that she wasn't just a tad more protective and was like, "Come on, we're going home."
Yeah, like, no, you're not drinking that beer. Sit here for a little bit, and I'll walk you back home.
Which is how I thought it was going to go. I thought that she was going to walk her home and tell her, "Now get back up to your room," and then Joanne would go back to the party, and then that's when Tanya would disappear.
Nope.
But that did not happen because Joanna did not appear to be very responsible.
No. And it really did surprise me. And it was kind of, I still don't think I would have forgiven Joanna at that point because, I mean, even though she was a child herself, she was also the older sister, and one should not have let her 9-year-old little sister, first of all, have, I think, more than one beer.
Like, yes, she was, a kid herself, but she was also a kid who obviously knew better. She knew that what she was doing was wrong because she snuck out in order to do it.
Yeah.
So she knew that what she was doing was wrong.
Yeah, she wasn't a stupid girl. She wasn't at all. She was just wild and free at her age. And that's fine. That's okay. You can be wild and free at any age if you want to be.
Don't give your
But
9-year-old sister beer.
yeah, don't encourage that behavior on your younger sibling when you could set a good example for them. But I mean, I'm sure Joanna has beat herself up every single day. And I think we see that later on by the way that she looks is she didn't have a good life. She, I think, really beat herself up every day, which I don't blame her.
And I feel like she was purposely torturing herself staying in that house all those years.
Oh, yeah.
Like she probably should have sold that house and moved on years ago, but I feel like she was dead set on punishing herself for what happened.
Yeah. And keeping that room exactly how it was, even I don't know how many years later that was.
Well, she said her mom kept it that way all those years, and then
Mhm.
she kept it even after her mother died.
The mother I get because that is a common practice that happens a lot when parents lose children.
Especially when they disappear and you
Yeah.
just have a feeling that they'll come home any day.
Yeah. So that's, I mean, it's a real life sad fact of that really does happen for a lot of people, but that just shows you the guilt that Joanna had because I feel like she was on the same grief as her mother. I don't know how to word that right, but you can just tell by the way that she didn't change anything. The way that she did not take care of one herself. She didn't take care of that house, except that room was pristine.
Like she kind of inherited her mother's grief.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And that was heartbreaking.
It was just very sad to see how that family just, completely fell apart, which is sadly what happens a lot when children pass away or disappear like that.
Yep, it does.
For a split second before we found out who Joanne was, like when Athena and Bobby first went to the house, I did think that it was Tanya's mother.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for some reason. I mean, I'm thinking like, no, she would have had to have looked much older, but that's what I thought.
Yeah, no, I see that, but
I feel like they kind of made her look a little older than she should have been, and I don't know if that was on purpose, just to show, how much she's been struggling all these years.
Joanna?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think so. Because she looked a lot older than Athena. And I think she was only a few years older than Athena.
Yeah, I think she should have only been, maybe 5-6 years older than Athena. Yeah. She looked much, much older. So
that's that grief and that guilt.
So I don't know if that was geniusly done on purpose just to show how, that guilt essentially aged her, but I thought it was pretty interesting.
Yeah. I mean, they did. If that was intentional, they did a great job with that. So after this party, we see that Junior's going to take her home.
Oh, gosh.
This scene was really tough for me to watch.
My heart was racing the whole time. That was terrifying.
That was, and just the entire scene was. I'm glad that they cut parts when they did cut parts because it was going a little too far for my liking on my normal TV shows. I do enough true crime as is in other places. And watching this, I was like, oh my gosh, come on, please do not show anything being done to this little girl. And I had tears in my eyes watching her run through these. Were they the orange?
The orange groves?
The orange groves. She's running through all those trees. And I was like, oh my gosh, my heart was pounding. I knew what was coming. I mean, you knew what was coming.
Oh, yeah.
but you're still like cheering for her in some kind of way.
Yeah, part of me was still thinking, come on, but
I know.
you know that bad stuff is gonna happen.
Yeah.
But still you're like, come on, you can do it. Get out of there.
Oh, that was really heartbreaking. He catches her, and the entire way how they did it, with Bobby running after Junior, tackling him, and then Athena running after Junior, and them flashing back and forth between Tanya running and Athena running, Junior running. It was all they did that really well, is what I'm trying to get
Yeah.
at.
Yeah, I think it was really well done. It did make it a little more bittersweet than really
Yeah.
terrifying.
Yep.
So you were really sad about what happened to Tanya, obviously. That's terrible. But then at the same time, in basically the same scene,
Mm-hmm.
we see, Reggie getting his. So
Yeah. You're kind of like cheering and upset at the same time because you want Athena to get him. But
because you finally saw, because in the same moment as she died, she got the justice. So
yeah.
very well done scene. I didn't think about that before, but that was pretty smart of them to do it that way.
Yeah. It really was. They did really well in a heartbreaking scene. And I also want to mention that they terrified me when that shot went off and I thought Bobby got hit.
Right, when you
thought
were
he got hit.
thinking nothing bad can happen to Bobby and Athena.
I know, my heart did like a pitter patter, and then I was like, oh, he's okay. Okay, good.
I was like, hopefully that, little, word I can't say without being in trouble got shot. I was so glad it was him. I was like, oh, good.
I know.
The bad guy went down, as it should be.
But I mean, we also see that the senior did know about it. He knew that he did it, and I think he suspected more of it and covered up for him all those years.
And he was like, I just wanted to protect my boy. And then we find out, lo and behold, she wasn't the only one.
That actually did shock me. I don't know why. It shouldn't have shocked me. I mean, doing what I do for a living, like it shouldn't shock me that, I mean, it is a pattern usually.
It didn't necessarily shock me. I think what shocked me is just the fact that that's how they chose to go with that storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was thinking this is all about, Tanya, it's solved. And then they were like, and he did this to other girls. And I'm thinking, whoa, wait, that's not what this was supposed to be.
Yeah. That secret should not have been kept for, I think it was like 45 years. That was not okay. Of senior to do. I mean, they found what, 6 girls so far, and they weren't even done looking. So we don't even know how many other girls he abused and or killed.
And Reggie was senior. He was like, he didn't know that either, right? Like, he didn't know there were other girls.
He didn't know there were any girls, because when they told him, he almost had a breakdown, which, I mean, I'm sorry, but good.
Well, that was a long time coming. He deserved a breakdown.
He did. I have kids, and I just feel like if my kid killed somebody, like, in honest, they would have to pay for what they did.
Yeah, the way that you love your kids is by teaching them that you kill someone, there are consequences for that.
Yeah, I mean, no, like if you if you hit somebody's car and go, yeah, we're gonna have a discussion about it, not okay. You kill somebody first, a little girl being inappropriate with, then killing her. I'm sorry, no. If it was my son, he'd be locked up. Plain and simple. I would never want to be a mother who was responsible for that kind of stuff. Because
we don't,
you're just as responsible if you know about it and you don't say anything.
and I don't know if it was made clear and I just missed it, but did they mention if like Tanya was the first girl?
I
or
think
just
Tanya was the first.
the first? Okay, so that
I
really
think.
did hit him then. If he just made him, own up to his own up to it, then
Mm-hmm.
maybe those other girls would still be here today.
But do we know, did he commit other murders, or was he not just but was he a pedophile? Was he killing these girls as well? Do we know? Did I miss that?
I don't think so. I think they just they showed that other detective, or was it Athena? I don't know. One of them showed him the pictures and said, well, she wasn't the only one. And then he just kept saying, I was trying to protect my boy. And they
Shut
were
up.
like, well, what about them?
Exactly.
So I don't think it wasn't really made clear, like exactly, what all went down with the other girls. I think it was just left for us to,
Interpret.
assume. I was just left to assume that it was more of a serial thing, and he did the same to those girls what he did to Tanya.
So sad. I mean, we have one good thing. Samuel woke up.
Oh,
Yay.
Yeah, finally something good is happening in this episode.
One good thing that came out of this entire thing. Samuel wakes up, and next week looks eventful. I mean, at least for Chim.
Jeez. Holy cow. Poor Chim. Okay, of everybody on that show, I feel like Chim is the one who can never, ever catch a damn break.
Previewing. He's just holding on.
It's just, it was so shocking. I had to go back and watch that preview again, because we went from like this really somber, 911 episode into Chim being kidnapped and Buck almost getting run over. And I'm sitting there laughing. I'm like, I don't know if this is supposed to be funny or not.
It was funny after watching that entire episode of just grim after grim, and then getting to see Chim having a heart attack in the car going in circles. Like, it was just like a good comedic relief. I think I know he'll be fine, so I'm not worried about Chim.
Yeah, he'll be fine. I'm just really excited about seeing how that all goes down.
I do too. Let's hopefully the car doesn't hit Buck though. Stay clear of Buck, please.
You know what? I think Buck will be fine.
He'll just bounce
He already
off.
had an entire fire engine fall on top of him, so I think he can survive a car.
He'll be fine.
He'll survive. He'll be great.
That is it for 911 tonight. But we will be back next week to talk about next week's 911. But now we are going to talk a little bit about The Resident, which is another episode I really did enjoy. I don't think everybody else did. But as the only Cade fan, I think, in the world right now, I'm in the Cade club all by myself. Nobody's changed my mind. I'm stubborn now. Like now, unless she's off the show, my mind's not changing.
You were a Cade fan from the beginning. You're going to see this through.
I am. I have loved her since she came on the screen, and I just can't give up on her yet. So I'm hanging on till the end. I know there will be an end. I'm hanging on.
I like her as a character. I just think her and Conrad just have zero chemistry.
I think they have chemistry. I think she's just still being very cold and standoffish from not only Conrad, but from everybody. And I don't know if or when I don't know when or if she'll ever warm up.
She's been really stressed out lately, but we'll talk about that a little later, I guess.
I can give all the excuses.
Oh, I know you can. You could do this whole podcast all by yourself. We've talked about that.
I could. I'll talk all Cade. I mean, have
all
Jeanette
the
yelling
time.
at me through the.
I can already hear Jeanette listening to this podcast and screaming at you through, her phone or however she's listening.
Well, I'm sorry she's not here.
You should have been here, Jeanette. You had your chance.
Hashtag Team Cade. Okay.
So we start the episode with Padma, who is always a basket of nerves, I feel like. But she was especially this week. Holy cow, she had me nervous. I was about to have a panic attack just watching her.
My gosh, she was supposed to be the Zen one. I don't know what happened.
I don't know what happened either, because she's supposed to be the Zen one, and there's Leela like, everything's gonna be okay. I have to go, and then I'll be right back. I'm like, I'm sorry. Is this like Freaky Friday? Did we switch personalities? What happened here?
They did. I really think they did, but she's also been through a lot these past few months.
This pregnancy is really,
had a number on her, and
really
rightfully so. I think I'd probably be panicked too.
I mean, she started by writing a will, which, granted, anyone who's about to have children should have a will. So, I mean, I wasn't terribly surprised that. I think the only thing I was surprised about is that she didn't think to do it until literally hours before she gave birth.
I know. Nesting. What's called nesting.
She was nesting late.
Just nesting. Some people clean, somebody write their will. It's
And
okay.
she was, yeah. What was it? She said, I found this website online. It seems legit. Like, I don't know, Padma. You might want to find out for sure if your will is legit, before you undergo major surgery. I may not be an expert, but just saying.
I mean, it was sweet. It was sweet. And I honestly appreciated Leela in this moment as well, because she's usually very tough with Padma. And I liked seeing more of the softer side of her, calming her down. And, when Padma's telling her, make sure my babies are taken care of, she's reassuring her. And it was kind of a nice difference, I guess. It was a nice change of pace.
It was a nice change in Leela, because she's usually more of like the go, go, go type.
Yeah.
And Devin, though, he was kind of funny in this episode. What was it? He just walked in with all the bags. Okay, are we ready to go? And then he looks at him. He's like, I guess not. He just walked right back out. Like, oh, God bless that man. Oh. He's gonna be through a lot as long as these kids are in their lives.
Oh my gosh. You can imagine this is going to be so funny to watch. And I hope we get to see it.
Oh, I am here for it. I want to see a whole lot more of that entire family.
I just want to see AJ, Padma, Leela, and Devin trying to run after these twins. Because I have a feeling it's going to be the four of them having to do a lot with these children.
Full House style. It'll be great.
Oh gosh. Well, I mean, and it's just so sweet. I'm going back to old episodes when AJ got her that condo. Oh, I'm having an AJ moment right now. He's so sweet.
I know, he was a rock star this episode. He was
really
just 100% on board with everything Padma wanted. He was just like, oh, your crystals, and where do those go? I'm like,
I know.
Last episode, wasn't he kind of making fun of them last episode or a couple episodes ago?
Yep.
And now he's sitting there putting the crystals down. She's like, they go by the window. Oh yeah, okay, by the window.
I think he knows how freaked out she is, and he's just trying anything to keep her calm.
He's like, you're about to birth my baby, so you can have anything you want.
Pretty much. She doesn't need to get her blood pressure all high.
It was kind of a revolving door in Padma's room, because they kept getting pulled out. Every time they got pulled out, she was like, you're leaving? Like,
I know. I was like, they have work to do.
It's almost like they were talking to a 3-year-old. It's like, I have to go do a surgery. I'll be right back. She's like, you'll be back? Yeah, I'll be back.
Poor Devin.
And poor Devin is in there like, and I'm right here. Like, I kept forgetting that Devin was there because she would freak out when Leela left, and she would freak out when AJ left, and Devin's sitting there in the corner. It's like, I'm still here. I'm doctoring, you know.
I don't think she cares about Devin being there. That didn't do anything. But it was sweet that he sat there with her and, you know, kept her company while everybody else was getting dragged away for this crazy day. I mean, this was kind of a...
Oh my gosh, it was just one day, wasn't it?
It was, and
it was just a few hours.
I don't want to say it annoyed me, but I was a little bit annoyed with the whole thing about the gunshot. It's like, it's as many things as that happen, they're making it seem like this is normal with every single gunshot. It takes over 100 medical staff to take care of it. And yes, does it take money and effort and bodies and everything to save somebody? Yeah. But it's also a public hospital, and that's their job. They're not a private hospital anymore. So this whole thing kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
I feel like they didn't. I think what rubbed me the wrong way is they didn't do much with it. Like, they had that number tracker rolling at the beginning, and then they did it again at the end. Like, if they were trying to get some kind of point across, it should have been something they were doing throughout.
No, they were.
The episode. Were they, or was I just not paying attention?
You weren't paying attention, girl. No, it kept going up. Every time something happened and they would, like, new doctors would have to come in and do something, the number would kept going up. So I just kept being, my attention kept going to the little, what's that thing called? The counter, the number counter.
We'll call it the number counter. I think there's a different name for it.
There is a name for it. I'm like the scrolly number thing.
Scrolling number thing.
I don't know what it is.
You will all know what we're talking about. And if you know what the official name is, please email us and let us know, because we don't know how to look that up.
The only thing going through my head right now is speedometer, and I know it's not that.
Something meter. Odometer?
Isn't that a speedometer? Isn't that almost like a speedometer?
I don't know. I have
odometer. Okay,
hold on.
It up.
Research time.
Odometer.
Oh, click counter.
I keep getting tally counter.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting too. Like click counter and tally counter.
Yeah, I guess that is what it is, but that's not what I've ever called it. So whatever.
Well, it's what we're gonna call it now. The tally counter. So her surgery was delayed, what, 2-3 times?
I think just twice.
Well, I think, yeah, she was going in. Oh no, it was delayed, I think.
It was delayed an hour the first time.
It was delayed because they had, to do something with one of the other mini surgeries. And then they were wheeling her down, and then they had to take her back up.
Yep.
I think it was twice that it was pushed back. And I felt like each time it was pushed, she got more and more and more panicked.
Yeah.
And Jeff got more and more panicked that he was the only one there. It's like, yeah, okay, I'm not going to leave you. I really wish someone else was here, but I'm not leaving you.
Man, I was panicking because it was like she was hemorrhaging, and I knew these babies were coming, and Leela and AJ are sitting in this surgery. I'm like, holy moly, she's out with the babies right now. Why is nobody going and getting AJ or Leela? And then obviously they did, but
well, they were paged for emergency or no trauma surgeon. They needed a trauma surgeon or something.
Yeah.
I'm still not clear on what everyone's specialty is, because they paged a trauma surgeon and then they paged Leela and AJ, but I didn't think either of them were trauma surgeons.
Well, I don't think they really paged them to help. I think they more paged them because
Just-
that was Padma's family, and I think that was more of like a respect thing of letting them know. But I mean, Leela went in there and saved Padma's life. I don't know how she was able. I'm sorry, in the real world, you would not be able to walk in the room and just do surgery on your sister.
Like, I don't care how busy that hospital is, you are not doing surgery on your own sister. I would not. I mean, obviously, I'm not a surgeon, so of course I would not want to do surgery on my sister. But if I was a surgeon, no way.
No. But this is a TV show. It's The Resident. It's awesome. Whatever.
Everything went fine. Padma's okay.
Two healthy baby boys.
2 healthy babies.
We don't know names yet, right?
I don't believe so.
We just got a very small glimpse of the robot babies.
Robot babies.
They were robot babies. Did you see them?
I did see them.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very frustrated. I was
definitely robot babies, but they were so tiny. Those would definitely have to be robot babies, being that teeny tiny.
Yeah, I mean, you can't have real teeny tiny.
No, I don't
like that.
As a mother, I would be like, no, not
like
doing
I want my
it.
kids to be on TV, but not that badly. They're too tiny.
No, those were like definitely like NICU babies. Kind of bouncing back to this whole gunshot thing.
Eucalyptus, use his real name. Come on.
Use his real name. Eucalyptus really frustrated me this episode. And I feel like eucalyptus is supposed to be calming. So
it's an essential oil, isn't it?
So I don't even remember what the next one was. Eucalyptus. There was some next one that came in.
I don't know. That was the very end.
Yeah, I can't think of it now. But anyways, I understand why they did it. Like, I understand the entire backstory because I know that funding is a problem in hospitals, and we call it big pharma. We call it big pharma greed. It's things the resident has been kind of touching on a lot of the time since it started.
And I know Chicago Med has been starting with,
yes,
a lot of the issues in healthcare. So it's definitely, a hot button issue these days.
It is. And I get them wanting to talk about it. And I think it should be talked about because it obviously is an issue. But at the same time, it felt like it was out of place. It didn't feel like the resident. It just felt like when Kit came in and started talking about like the money right in front of, like, when this patient's like half dead in front of her, it was just like, that wasn't a Kit move. It didn't, I think.
Like, they just had Kit say that because they're like, oh, we need to put this into our show, so let's just make Kit say this. It just didn't feel right. It was very unnatural, especially with Kit coming on as, being the one who wanted to like revolutionize the entire system. And now she's kind of, well, I mean, you have to play along sometimes, but
yep,
you're right. It did feel very forced the way that they're doing it.
Yeah. And I mean, I'll give them time. Maybe they'll get better about doing it in a different way, but it didn't feel like it didn't really feel like the resident type very much. It was just kind of odd for me. But to kind of go back to this gunshot victim, Eucalyptus, which, by the way, why are we just now hearing about this for the first time? I think, like, are gunshots getting more and more, I guess? Is that the...
Oh, was it gunshots or was it just like John Doe's in general?
What, I don't know. Maybe it was just John Doe's in general. I don't know.
Because they've had John Doe's on the show before, but this is the first time I've heard about this whole, giving them a name based on, going through the alphabet.
Okay, I thought so too. And I was like, that's kind of weird that we're just like hearing about this now, because I think this would have been funny. Not funny, but it's kind of been funny the whole time going on,
Yeah, it would have been a fun little, thing that, they did, which lot of some of the John and Jane Does they get on the show, they end up getting an identity at the end of the show. So it's fine.
Yeah.
But
Eucalyptus never did.
poor Eucalyptus. I don't know. Maybe Eucalyptus will be back and we'll find out who he is.
I hope so. But
Or
I'm
maybe
guessing
he'll-
I don't think he's like a good guy.
No, I'm not
I mean,
getting that.
He's been shot before. He's had these prior surgeries before for being shot. He was obviously shot doing some shady something in that street.
Yeah, he's obviously involved in something. To what degree, we might never know, but he's
Yeah.
definitely not just an innocent bystander.
No. So, I mean, but he is a human, and we have humanity. So we want to see this guy survive, even even if he is not the best person.
I mean, that was nice that they were making a point to give them, a name, just so it's not John Doe up there. Just
I mean, obviously, if you have
like
15 John Does, I guess you got to start
yeah.
differing them.
Yeah, you can't have like John Doe 1, John Doe 2. You got to get
way
creative.
too confusing.
Yeah, come on, guys, get creative.
So this guy, I don't know how many times he went to surgery. 2, 3.
I lost count because I felt like every single time a surgery was pushed, it was because, or like every time a surgery was pushed or they were told something wasn't available, it was because of the gunshot guy.
Yeah.
So I'm like, my gosh, all of these insane amount of resources just for this one guy. But I don't know. I lost count of how many times that poor guy was taken into surgery. It was at least twice at the very least.
Yeah. I mean, he went into the first surgery. They didn't take it out because 1, he was uninsured, and 2, it was, I guess, pretty lodged in there. But then they took the scan and they knew they had to go back in for a second surgery because of where the bullet was. It was way too close to the spine to let leave there, because he could be walking around one day and just become paralyzed pretty much, which I guess is no bueno. So, but then after that, he needs dialysis, and then it starts filling up with blood. And I'm like, what else can happen to this poor guy?
Okay. I feel like they were really pushing it. I feel like they were really shoving this whole, healthcare, like the trouble with healthcare in our faces this episode with that gunshot victim. I feel like everything they wanted to basically show us, they just kept dumping more and more and more in. And it's like everything they could possibly think of. They're like, oh, nope, let's just make it happen to Eucalyptus. Like, now he can get dialysis, and now he needs another surgery, and now he needs Billy. It's like, oh my gosh.
I mean, that's why I was saying at the beginning, like, it kind of frustrated me that we were like doing this tally counter thing, because I'm like, this cannot be normal for every single gunshot victim. So it can't be 100 people and 4 surgeries and dialysis and problems with dialysis and all this stuff with every single gunshot victim. I mean, you can't compare every single one. Is it a problem? Yeah, it is. But also, I'm sorry, but if America had better healthcare, then this wouldn't be an issue.
Then maybe we could go back to the drama instead of having all of this nonsense happening on our TV shows.
I know. I don't want to be in the real world when I'm watching my shows. How many times have I had to say that? Let's talk about a little bit happier thing. Let's talk about Conrad and Cade.
Well, happy for Amanda. Go on, Amanda. This is the part where you talk all by yourself.
Okay, so my girl, she left in the middle of the night again. Right? Was that this week or was that last week?
No, that was last week.
That was last week. Oh my gosh.
No, yeah, that was the end. That was the end of last.
That was the end of last week.
And I think I think that was just part of the recap for this week.
Oh, that's right, because this episode is when he went to Kit. Okay.
Yes, like Conrad. Well, yeah, it turned out Conrad went to Kit, which initiated the whole drug testing, which that was too much of a coincidence. And even when, because I think even Irving was saying that, like, someone asked like how often they have to do drug testing. He was like, it's been a while.
He said
So
it's been 3 years.
yeah. So as soon as he said that, I was like, this is too convenient.
It is, but I don't think Ian was like suspicious, really. I don't think anybody was really suspicious. I mean, they were like,
No,
well, this is weird.
I
but
think, yeah, well, I think Cade was the only one who was suspicious, because, you know, she knew that she
just had that conversation with Conrad.
Yeah, she and Conrad are the only ones who knew about, you know, the conversation they had. So obviously Cade thought it was weird, but nobody else did.
Yeah, which, I mean, honestly, I think Conrad did do the right thing. I'm not, and I won't cover up for Cade for this one. I think she did what she thought was right. I think she told Conrad, because deep down, she knew Conrad would do the right thing and say something without her having to rat out her own dad, even though she did act mad at Conrad for saying something. I don't think she would have told Conrad that if she absolutely did not want anything happening. I really don't.
I mean, if that was her expectation, then she does not know Conrad at all.
Exactly.
Because she had to know that Conrad was going to react.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, I think the way he reacted was very appropriate. I mean,
I do too. I think he handled this beautifully.
And he even said he told Kit anonymously. So Kit didn't have any idea who, you know, the doctor could have been.
Nope. I mean, it's not like he went in there and ratted him out. He just said, I have a suspicion.
And, you know, if it had been 3 years, then, you know, maybe it is time for a drug testing of your staff. I mean,
right? I mean, I don't really believe in drug testing for every single job, but I feel like in the medical field, if you're in a profession where other people's lives are literally like in your hands, I think drug testing is important. Regular drug police, firemen, the people who are supposed to be saving us. I mean, everyone says what you do on your own time is your own time. But on the other hand,
not if it bleeds into, you know, your
exactly. Work. And the whole problem with Ian is he's popping these pills before he's going into surgery. Like, he has to have them before he does anything, which is a clear sign of addiction. And if it's not addiction, then there's something seriously medically going on with him, and he shouldn't be doing surgery.
Not to mention, he's going to lengths to cover it up and everything. So
yeah, he's being very shady. And I know everybody loves him. I do. But
it's Andrew
McCarthy. I know it's Andrew McCarthy. And like,
you gotta love him, but
and I do, but I have not liked his character since he walked on the freaking set. I haven't trusted him at all. And you know, maybe I shouldn't be talking because I'm a big Cade fan, but
and you know, Cade, even like at the end, like when after his whole cover up, he just told Kit that he was taking I don't know, it was like some other drug that can test that can have a false positive for the one they were testing for, I guess.
Yep.
And like he even told Cade that lie.
Yeah.
Too. And she was like, okay, but I could tell she was like,
still suspicious.
Hey, I'm not buying this. Yeah. Like, I don't know what's really going on, but I'm not buying this. And I mean, Cade may not be my favorite person. She may not be my favorite character, but she's no dummy.
No.
She's not stupid. She has to know that he's covering something up, because the way that she was like, okay, she was kind of looking at him like, I can tell you're humoring me, so I'm going to humor you. Okay, Dad.
Man, I'm honestly very happy that Kit is making him follow up with this and not just saying, okay. I think she sees something's weird.
Yeah, I was worried for a second there.
Yeah.
When she's like, oh, okay, thanks for letting me know. I'm like, Kit, that's it. And then she was like, wait, I can't let you, you know, be performing surgeries. And I'm like, Thank you.
Yes, finally.
I don't know. It sounds like this is going to be a big storyline this year. So I think
Yep.
it's going to get a lot messier.
I do too, but I guess we'll see how it's gonna go.
We love you, Andrew McCarthy. Your character needs to make better choices, though.
So in the preview for next week, we see, first of all, the little cover photo is AJ holding one of the babies, which, by the way, is so adorable.
Yeah, let's have a whole episode of that, please.
I wish, but it looks like we don't really see that much of them, sadly. We have this mother who is, I guess, coming off drugs, what it seems like, and she just had a baby, and the baby's being taken away from her, and she's flipping out. So we kind of see that whole drama kind of starting. But also, I think the big story next week is going to be Ian and his withdrawals of these pills and trying to get off of them. And there's some lady there calling him out. So I think next week is going to get a little bit hairy for Angie McCarthy.
Things are getting dicey.
Yeah. So I guess we're going to have to see. I don't know. It looks stressful next week.
I feel like at least one or two of our shows really stresses us out each week.
Why do you gotta be so stressful? I think that's it. I think we covered 911. We covered the resident.
So if you're not there already, make sure you join us on Facebook. We are 911 Family Fan Club, and then the Resident Chastain Family Fan Club. We have games and chats, so make sure you tell us your thoughts.
Yes. And we are also on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all of those under Fandom Family Chats. So go follow us and let us know what you think. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Loving our content? Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to share our podcast with your family and friends. We want to continue the conversation with you. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok under Fandom Family Chats, or one of our ever-growing Facebook groups by searching Family Fan Club. We've also launched a website, Family Fan Club 2021 at wixsite.com. You can email us there and keep checking it for announcements and merch coming soon. And of course, be sure to tune in every week for new episodes discussing all your favorite shows.